Hi everyone, I'm back again. And today I'm going to be doing the compatibility chart between Kim Kardashian and Kanye West. I actually did this chart years ago, and it's interesting because the chart is still playing out between these two. And the reason for that is because when you have children together, the bond is going to be there forever. So if you break up and you have children, the Synastry chart still continues to play out because you're still in close proximity with the other person due to children being involved. So I'm going to get started. His Medea and Nemesis conjuncts her point of fortune, 2 degrees and 1 degree, and her Medea conjuncts his vertex at 2 degrees. This is a double whammy, really, because Medea has to do with revenge, and Nemesis has to do with, on the extreme side, having an enemy-like energy towards the other person, and on the milder side, it would mean betrayal. But this actually is all playing out because he's using his new wife, Bianca, to try to undermine Kim's shapewear line. I know there were reports of that. And there's other instances of revenge by him towards her in the past as well. So that's where this comes into play. And her Medea conjuncts his vertex. So she's had revenge mode against him as well. The vertex is a very important point in a Synastry chart. Her Casanova, Chaos, conjuncts his Chiron and Venus, 1 degree. Casanova has to do with cheating, and it's usually from male towards the woman, but I've seen it actually happen where the woman is the cheater because Casanova can come into play. And since her Casanova is conjuncting his Venus, I think that she cheated. There were reports that he went crazy and he kept accusing her of betrayal, and then there was people said no, it never happened. Well, the chart is telling me something differently, and there's chaos involved here, and that is also conjuncting his Venus. So a lot of uproar and chaos involved in these cheating allegations by him towards her. And since his Chiron is conjuncting his Venus, this means in his life he experiences a lot of pain in the love department because Venus is the planet that has to do with love. To further validate this, in the planetary department, his Neptune squares her Venus, and that has to do with deception. Always. I've never seen a Synastry chart where there was no cheating. Well, not necessarily with Neptune squaring Venus. It can mean cheating, but it definitely indicates deception by one of the people involved. I think it's her. There's a possibility that he may have been disloyal to her, but his moon is squaring her Neptune, and his sun is also opposing her Neptune. So we have this fog and illusion and deception by her because her Neptune is squaring his moon and opposing his sun. So he doesn't know what she's doing, and he's very suspicious about her behavior and her intentions. Her Viscia conjuncts his Mercury, and Mercury is a thinking and talking planet. So her Viscia, viciousness. He thinks that she's vicious, and there's arguments between the two of them that's just can blow up and become brutal. Her Lamia and Fink conjuncts his ascendant. Again, Fink, disloyalty. And Lamia, she brought him a lot of pain and suffering due to her supposed disloyalty and infidelity. Now, his Aletko and Amor conjuncts her vertex, and Amor has to do with love. So obviously there was love between the two of them, but his Aletko is conjuncting her vertex. And this would tie into the Medea asteroid because Aletko has to do with the desire to punish someone. So all through their relationship, there's many instances where he would just lash out, become unstable, and want to punish her and have revenge. And it's starting to unfold. All of these energies are starting to unfold in the Synastry chart. His Schleicher, Escapulus, conjuncts her North Node 2 degrees. And like I've said before, whatever conjuncts your North Node from the other person, that will ultimately be the theme of the relationship for you. So in this case, his Schleicher, that has to do with obsessiveness and stalking. And Escapulus has to do with talebearing, revealing his secrets, gossiping, talking, gossiping, that sort of thing. And there's instances out in the open, all over the media, that makes him out to be like obsessed with her. And she said, why are you doing this? Why are you revealing all of the secrets? Why are you talking about our private conversations? And this is exactly the energies that Escapulus and Schleicher, those energies, that's what that represents. Now, her Venus conjuncts his Dolores, and Dolores has to do with pain and suffering, and that's what he brought to her in the love department, and it's at 2 degrees. His Sato, Melpomene and Xanthopy conjuncts her Mars, 1 degree. So now there's a war planet, Mars, and it brings fire and power to whatever it conjuncts. And in this case, his Sato, sadistic behavior, wanting to inflict pain on the other person. Melpomene has to do with, there's a tragedy involved in this situation, and Xanthopy has to do with domestic abuse. Now, when you have an asteroid that represents abuse, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's just physical. It could mean emotional abuse and verbal abuse. Because I've done synastry charts for other people, and when I say, so he was abusive towards you, and the woman will say, well, no, not really. But once I dig deeper and press the person for information, she will eventually come out and say, well, yeah, he was kind of verbally abusive to me, or there was emotional abuse. So abuse can take many different forms. Most people just jump to the physical part. But so in this case, there was domestic abuse, I think, by him towards her. And he was sadistic too. Her Pluto, Astarte, and Lilith conjuncts his North Node in Bacchus. So the theme of the relationship for him was, well, her Pluto, it's very powerful, very passionate energy, very strong. And it's holding hands with Astarte. Lots of arguments. Astarte has to do with blow-ups and arguments. And Lilith is there as well. So there's a lot of strong sexuality between Kim and Kanye, and a powerful effect that she had on him. Now, in his natal chart, his Bacchus is conjuncting his North Node. And this means that he is a very overindulgent person. When it's like you go to a bar and you don't have one glass of wine, you'll just have like 4 or 5. Or if you go to a buffet, instead of having one plate of food, you just stock up and keep eating. It's just a very overindulgence that he has as a part of his life theme. His Lucifer and Councilman conjuncts her midheaven, 2 degrees. And the midheaven is at the top of the chart. So whatever conjuncts your midheaven from the other person, everyone will see it. It'll be out in the open. And in this case, his Lucifer is conjuncting her midheaven. And that has to do with arrogance and pride and being a know-it-all. And it's right out in the open for everyone to see. And since it's conjuncting his councilman, there's lawyers involved here. So he brought that into the relationship with a pride and arrogance that everyone pretty much saw. Now her Pholus and Moon conjuncts his Ishtar. More validation of blow-ups and arguments. His Ishtar conjuncting her Moon? Not good. You don't want negative energies conjuncting your Moon, a very important luminary in a compatibility chart, because it'll affect you strongly. And her Pholus is there as well. So this is over like an explosion of emotional reactions because of his Ishtar, and there's arguments involved between the two of them. His Sphinx and Lacrimosa conjuncts her moon and the IC, and the IC is at the bottom of the chart. It's on the cusp of the fourth house, which rules the home and the family. So whatever conjuncture IC, it's going to affect you strongly. It's going to affect your family, and it's going to strike a nerve or right into the heart of you, because it's where your inner child lives, and his Sphinx is there. So he's got this energy of she can't figure him out. Where is he coming from? Why is he doing what he's doing? And Lacrimosa is there as well. So he brings into this relationship lots of tears and crying due to his unexpected behaviors and how he reacts to things. His Grimm and Dioretsa also conjuncts her IC. And Grimm, fairy tales. There's a fairy tale component to this relationship. I see a lot of Grimm and Fantasia and Fantasyland stuff happening between celebrities when I do charts. So it shows up quite frequently. But his Dioretsa is also there, and that has to do with someone who is wild and foolish. So he's got this wild and foolish sort of energy towards her, and it's like a fantasy sort of thing. Now, in his natal chart, he has Neptune squaring Moon. And when you have Neptune squaring Moon, you have this ability to over-idealize things or want to delve into the philosophical fantasies in life. And it can also it can also mean there's a possibility of being overindulgent in drugs or alcohol. Now, her Sphinx conjuncts his descendant at 1 degree. And so he finds her on another, like a mystery, like he can't figure her out either. So both of these two together, it doesn't really click. It clicks sexually, and there's a lot of attraction. But over time, that doesn't hold up. It doesn't stay. There's no staying power in this relationship for that sexual energy to bond the two people together. And there's really no Saturn glues as well. And also, they don't have any moon-moon aspects. So right there, to me, I did say this years ago. These two are not going to stay together, and they're going to end up becoming like a love-hate relationship, and there's going to be revenge involved, because Medea can also mean the energies of having a love-hate relationship. But like I said, the revenge mode is still going on, and he did stalk her. That energy had Schleicher conjuncting her North Node. So he stalked her and Pete Davidson, I believe, and there was cyberbullying issues from him towards her, and it's still happening. So that's all I have, and I hope you enjoyed this interpretation, and I'm going to be back soon. So hit the subscribe button if you're interested to stay in the loop. Have a nice day.